Cool. Hey, Rachel. Happy Thanksgiving, and hope you're having a good one. Hope you're eating lots of turkey. Let's start your portfolio review. Cool. So I clicked on your link, and I'm going to go here. So first off, um, pretty good layout. Get a nice sense of your drawing style over here in the upper left. Your storyboards are almost immediately available. Like as soon as you go to rachelrubenstein.net, it takes you right to the storyboard portfolio part. So it's pretty darn clear where you want people to go, which is pretty cool. Yeah, video sequences. So you got single panel sequences and a couple of Vimeo things. Good. I like how it's single panel right up at the front, so I can flip through it rather quickly. This is nice how it's like a 45-second video, which I'm really likely to look at because it's so short. A minute 50 it's a little longer. Storyboard recruiters don't necessarily have time to look through that, but they will if the rest of your stuff is compelling. So let's look through your sequence. Boom, boom, boom. So you got some good action notes there. Cool. Buzzing noises. And they land in. Boom. Okay, cool. Let me look at that. Okay, so that's a pull out to. Okay. Pull out to reveal there. Straw. Cool. Long slurping. Cool. Long slurping. Cool. Okay, cool. That's kind of funny. So it's a good short sequence. That's really nice how it displays your sense of humor and displays your drawing sensibility. It's nice and short, and I get it. So this is cool. We'll go through here. Buzzing noises. Bzz, 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 bzz. Cool. So I'm going to challenge you on one thing. I get how. Well, yeah. Okay. So I get how you're focusing on. You're focusing this shot on the sucking up of the blood, but it feels like there's not a lot of contrast. So first of all, like I'm distracted by a lot of the legs and a lot of the other hairs here. So I'm not reading the sucking as much. I would probably separate this into two beats, or a couple of beats, so that they land. They put their, for lack of a better word, straws in the skin, and then you see them sucking, because that'll make it a little bit clearer, because that's actually what you're going to see if you made this a film. You would see those distinct beats. They wouldn't just drop and then instantly this would fill up. I'm also going to challenge you a little bit, because we see that these are mosquitoes, and this is a nice shot, right? I'm going to challenge you a little bit here. I think we could be probably closer. On the straws, because there's a lot of unnecessary detail out here, because we're not hiding the fact that they're mosquitoes. I mean, we've already seen here that they're mosquitoes. So if the point of this shot is just going straight to the sucking, I would probably be closer and then pull out, right? And then pull out to this frame to reveal that they're kind of on a date there. Deep slurping. This is fun. If this was going to be super long, I would probably do a couple of extra poses, because if I'm just flipping through this sequence and I'm not reading the action notes, if this were actually on screen, you would see a whole bunch of. In order to make this entertaining, you would want to see a whole bunch of him sucking up the blood, maybe in different poses, and then. You want to have a whole bunch of poses on screen, so we're not just on a static image of this guy slurping, unless that was your intent. But I think there could be something that's slightly more entertaining. So we'd want to see multiple poses of that, and this is nice because it's an upshot, and that's a down. yeah, we're looking up on her or on him, and then we're looking down on her. This is pretty good. That's a nice A to B pose. You can tell exactly what's going on. She looks up. This is a funny reveal. We reveal that he's overindulged, and then I would say you probably want a change of expression here for her to make it even clearer that she's getting more grumpy. When you start seeing other people. Yeah, sputter spit. I think you want to pose this out because like you can get a lot of entertainment out of doing a spit take with a mosquito. So you want to pose that out for the sequence because the animators would have to animate something fun there. We are so good together, and then so we are so good together. So this is the joke. So the hand slap is the joke. So number one, I think you're cutting in the middle. You're cutting kind of in the middle of the joke. So when the shadow comes over and then you cut to the wide, that immediately signals to the audience that something is going to happen. And that something is that it's going to be a hand slap. So the fact that the shadow appears here, and then we cut to here, it tells the audience, oh, something's coming. So it's less of a surprise for the audience, and it's less of a joke, which kind of spoils the joke a little bit. It's a funny joke, but it spoils it. And also, you cut. So you do this. So you cut here, and then you pull out as the hand slams. And that's a less. If you're pulling out as the hand slams, that's two things that are happening at once. It's a big slam, which is supposed to be the surprise, but also the pullout. And you want, in order to tell jokes like this, you want really clean beats. So I would find an angle on this where you can do the hand slap and the shadow in the same shot. I mean, you could probably even do it in this framing, and if you do it in this framing, if your character is here and your character's here and there's that, like, you could probably just show the edge of the hand, right, and just a fingernail, and maybe the thumb there if you wanted to. Boom, and show it super close. Super close. Boom. Oops. Cut that. Show it super close. Boom. And then pull out if you wanted to show the whole hand. But I don't necessarily think you need to pull out to show the whole hand, because I think if you're in this close, I think the audience is going to get that that's a hand. But if you really want to, okay, my camera tool. If you really want to, you could pull it out at the end. To reveal that it's the whole hand. But I don't necessarily think you need to. So yeah. So also, as far as your drawing, I'm going to challenge you to draw things or to be drawing a little bit more dimensionally, thinking about basic shapes. So for instance, let's go back to your storyboard here. For instance, here on this shot. So if that were the actual head construction of the mosquito, you would want to preserve the dimensionality of the head shape. Let me show you what I mean. Let me find a fun Do I have any fun brushes? I don't. I'll just use brush 3. Cool. So if this is an oval here, let me increase my brush size so I can draw kind of rough. There. So if this was the mosquito, and this is the head shape, the center line is right about here, and it follows this contour here, right? So if you were placing eyes on that, you would place the eye here and then right about here, and this eye would probably be a little bit bigger. If you want to do the same size, cool, because that's a style thing. But then you would want to put, let's just take, oops, yeah, there you go, did it finally. Yeah, you would want to then place the mosquito thing along the center line, because that's how the head shape actually works. And then the antenna out of there, and the antenna out of there. It's basic. It's basic dimensional drawing stuff. If you have a character here, and when I draw Poppy, I just simplify her to a sphere. If her eyes kind of follow the contours of that sphere, and then here's the center line of that. Boom, there's her eye there. I'm going to draw in a different color so you can see it. Boom, there's her eye there. This one is a little bit smaller. The nose comes off of her face there, and then let's give her a smile. Right, and then if you're tracking the ears, the ear probably comes along there because that's about the midpoint here of that. And if it's on the other side, it's right here, then we might see just a little smidge of it, no trolls pun intended, just a little smidge there. And then her hairband wraps around the form here, and then you get 3 little flowers. I gotta cheat those. So, and then her body is kind of 2 cones. It's kind of like this cone and then that cone. And her neck is right there, and there's a little kind of strap that follows the dimensionality of that. So I think in your work, you're losing a little bit of the dimensionality of the drawing, which can be a style thing. But based on the shapes that you're using, especially up here, it looks like you're trying to preserve dimensionality in the drawings. It just falls flat a little bit. And also, so I want to caution you from here to here. This is a little bit of a jump cut because your eyes are right here, and then when you're cutting wide, you're changing the angle. Since your eye in the previous frame is right here, you're changing the angle here, but it's not a dramatic enough angle change to not read as a jump cut. In general, to avoid jump cuts, one thing you can do is there's cutting on action, but there's a thing that I like to talk about, which is filling the negative space of the previous shot with the positive, or filling the positive space of the previous shot with the negative space of the other shot. So for instance, over the shoulders. So you have a character here who's looking and he's smiling, and then, okay, there's an over the shoulder there. So here's the positive space of this shot, and here's the negative space. So if you're doing shot counter shot, you're doing 2 over the shoulder shots. Oops. There we go. If you're doing 2 over the shoulder shots, let's see. You know what? I'll just do a new layer and turn on light table. Cool. If you're doing an over the shoulder shot, you're going to cut to the opposite. You want to place the other character in the negative space of the previous shot, so that when you cut between the two, it won't jump, and it's very clear who's on what side. So if we were to flip between these 2 shots, it would look like, boom, there's an over the shoulder. Let me get rid of that. Boom, there, boom. So it becomes an easy it becomes an easy way to remember how to avoid jump cuts is just filling the negative space of the previous shot with the positive space of the next shot. It's a kind of a catch-all thing, and it'll fall down sometimes, depending on your shot choices. But it's a general pretty good rule. So that would help you avoid this jump cut. Maybe I would go, or actually we even talked about cutting that wide. Yeah, cool. So let's look at this sequence real quick. Okay, cool. Nice little moment. So you're losing, so it's fun. Boom, boom, boom. So I get this. This is cool. She's drawing, boom, 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 drawing, frustrated. Cool. So that's a little bit of a weird cut. Oh man, Vimeo's falling down on me there. Yeah, this. I'm not sure if this to this is a cut or a camera move, because it could be a camera move, or we're rotating around the character in order to reveal the door. But if it's a cut, it's not a great cut, because we're not changing the angle that much. And then here you've got some problems with character side of the screen. So that's a decent cutting. Cool. So she's frustrated. Hey, cool. So cut in there, and then okay. So I'm assuming she pops up from the bottom here, or comes up from the left side of the screen. So I'm assuming that's how that plays out. You're missing it. So she points up, but the problem is she points up, and then she was on the left side of the screen, and she was on the right side of the screen. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the advantage, or I'm not sure what the character placement is. So I'm losing character geography. And as soon as you lose character geography, you lose the audience, because the audience has to be able to track who is where, and what the layout of the room is. And if you start getting too confusing with that, then the audience just gets completely lost. If you look at the best action sequences, I mean, you look at the Dark Knight, like the chase sequence. The chase sequence where Joker is in the van, and that's a terrible sequence because you lose geography all over the place, and that's the least interesting part of that movie. If what I would do is watch. This is the thing that I always talk about. Watch Star Trek: The Next Generation with the sound off. Watch a bridge scene with the sound off, and watch just how well they anchor you with character geography. So you know exactly where characters are sitting, even when you cut to a different angle, and you see that Riker comes around, comes up from his chair, and then goes to the science station. Then you see his relationship between Data and Riker, and then Data says something to Picard, and then it goes back to Picard, and you're always aware of exactly where everybody is sitting in the room. Even when the situation changes, even when somebody is walking around, even when somebody is sitting down, even when somebody goes to a science station. So I would really, really study your character geography, and try and get that down, so you're not losing the audience. And I would try, if I were you, I would try drawing some characters with some simpler construction. So that you really are nailing down those basic shapes, those basic anatomical shapes that everything is based on, and then keeping everything dimensional. Like this is a pretty good drawing here, and that's a pretty good hand drawing. But in some of this stuff, you're kind of losing dimensionality. you're losing dimensionality and you're kind of losing form, which makes me lose the characters. So yeah. Hope that was helpful. Keep rocking along on it. I'm gonna check your resume and see what's up. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. All right, gotcha. So yeah, I would BFA digital character animation. Okay, cool. Yeah, I would keep working on your construction, keep working on your staging and your blocking to get things really clear. And yeah. Hope that was helpful. And talk to you soon.